we're coming to. If all green is always on the sea, and we're gonna always bring it to life, singing. So get ready, get ready, gonna feel they come.
All right, here we go. All decked out in orange today. You see him on the screen right there from inside the Loud House. It's the one, the only Neil Adler joining the Manchild as we talk all things SU basketball. No Boy Green this morning. He's on assignment. He'll be back next week, I'm sure. Neil, today's broadcast brought to you by our friends at Bayberry Automotive. Good morning, Neil Adler. How are you, sir? What's up?
I'm good. Happy New Year. So just to be like candid with you, this is actually a Tennessee Vols for Life shirt.
Oh, very nice.
Well,
very
you
nice.
know,
Wearing the,
Casey, my
creamsicle
son lives in
orange today.
Nashville. Okay, I'm missing him, thinking about him today. He loves you and Paul. I had to rep it.
Oh.
But the random orange square in the background was a birthday. My birthday was on January 1st. It was a birthday drawing / card from one of my two nephews, my twin brother, who's also an SU grad. And they came over and he made, so I was like, I got to put that up. I got the Mellow. I got Duran. I got Duran.
Like it. Love it. Star Wars. Big fan too. A lot going on there.
I'm old.
I'm liking the backgrounds. I'm liking the
I mean, it's not like fancy like yours, but it's like, it's true to my roots, you know? It's true to my roots. So everything's good, man. How are you?
I'm very good. Very good.
Yeah. How was your holiday?
As you mentioned, my holidays were great. Spent about a week and a half down in New York City and really had a nice time. Got a couple of days in the city, which is always
nice. Were you there on New Year's Eve?
I was not. No, Neil. Now, don't get me into those New Year's Eve stories. I told it about a week ago, right off the New Year's Eve thing. But I went in. I'll do the quick version of the story. I went into New Year's Eve when I was in my early 20s, maybe late teens, early 20s, right around 20 years old. I can't remember exactly what year it was. I wanted to do the ball. I wanted to do it for 1 year. And just say I experienced it, as nutty and crazy as it is.
Yeah.
So I went in with a whole group of my friends. And literally, we're counting down 10, 9, 8, the ball's about to drop. And some clown in the crowd somewhere nearby me. I mean, you're packed in there like sheep. You can barely.
Oh yeah, it's chaotic. Yeah.
On we're at like 3. I don't know what number it was. I don't remember. I was woozy. Throws his fist in the air and pops me in the eye. All right. So somebody literally like gangstered me in the middle of Times Square as we were counting down the last 10 seconds of New Year's. So I'm now down on the floor. I got popped in the eye. I got a huge black eye. All right. So whoever this mean person was, threw a punch at me, hit me in the eye. I never saw it coming. Don't even know who threw the punch.
But it wasn't like you had a beef with this person, right?
No,
that. It was just some.
I'm aware of. I don't know if he stepped on his foot on the way in or something, and he remembered it. I have no clue. But no, I didn't have a rub with anybody that night. Yeah. I just got popped literally as New Year's was being counted down. So I'm down on the ground. Now my friends are trying to surround me because this about mayhem is about.
Oh, you could have gotten stepped on. Yeah.
Right. You could have gotten trampled. So my friends are trying to protect me. I'm down on the ground. They don't even know what happened. Why is Lurch dropped to the ground? Did he faint? What's happening here? And, finally they get me up. They see that I've been popped in the eye. And so, so much for the hugs and the, old lang syne being so celebratory for me. I was just literally like, get me out of here. And we just, got the heck out of there. It's crazy.
Did you have to go to the hospital or anything?
No, it's just a standard black eye, just a really bad, black eye. My eye was closed.
What is that? What is wrong with people?
So that was my horrible New Year's Eve story. And I'll never go back. I won't go back because of that. I mean, it's just like, it's probably wrong to think that way, but I just like, okay. I've always done that. When they done that,
I've always thought about it. And, I think I've mentioned you maybe off air. My mom's from Brooklyn. My dad's from northern New Jersey, but lived, in Queens. It's like I have family from like New York and I obviously went to Syracuse. So I've been there a lot of times. I've never done the ball drop. I've been in New York City over New Year's, the holiday, especially when I was younger and single and ready to mingle. And, again, my twin brother and I, our birthday, January 1st. So we were getting after it. I hit a 6-game parlay one time on January 1st at, I can't remember the sports bar in somewhere in Manhattan that we went to. It's because we had a 6-game parlay, dude. It was, and I did like a ton of JMO shots. I shouldn't admit that on the air, but that was,
yeah.
But I'm sorry about that, man. That's not cool. That's not cool. Yeah. But New York City is so nice during the holidays. Just the lights and the energy, and it's just so many good restaurants and Love it.
Right. I'm not intimidated by the city. I love the city, but I just I won't do the Times Square thing again because that was just left a really bad taste in my mouth. Plus,
Yeah,
it's
no.
such a grind. You stand in for 12 hours. It's just
It's kind of like when I
you know?
see the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade, which I love, and I love Thanksgiving, and it's a big holiday for my mom, and we always it's a bucket, but it's so freaking cold, and you're standing there all
Yes.
for hours, and I'm just like, eh. But
In the end, for the few things you get to say that say, "Wow, I saw that, I did that," it's not great. I'll give you the other. Again, we got to get to Syracuse, but I'll give you the other side. So Thanksgiving Day Parade, I was in it twice because I used to work for Macy's, and so that's the way to do it, Neil. Now you're walking between the ropes,
right,
okay?
right,
and you're carrying the floats. The balloons we did for Macy's. So, and I was a Macy's employee, and you got paid to actually do that, and they gave you a free meal. So I did it twice. And again, I hate it because you have to ask these, you get me down these paths, and then I have to tell you the story.
Please.
But I again told this story on the air a couple of months ago around Thanksgiving time, but I'll share it with you real quick because you weren't with us. One year I was on one of the floats. It was Superman, and they had, you get on the ropes. You probably have about 20-ish ropes that hold down every balloon.
Yeah.
Basically, what you have is a crew of people, all right, and then you've got like about 5 floaters. So if it's 20 ropes, you got 25 people in your crew, and then there's like call it not a drill sergeant, like a supervisor. What would we say? A supervisor that's overlooking the whole thing and is with the group, that determines everything. All right. So we didn't have a lot of big people in our group, and some of the outer extremities, like Superman's hand, because he's like flying, he's like laid out flying, are a little bit more high tension than say if you have Superman's belly, which is in the center of the float, and if it's a little windy, and that day there was a little bit of a wind, those outer extremities, it's like Superman tries to move a little, his hand goes up, his foot rises, So if you're on the outer rope, usually they try and find big people, to be on those ropes, bigger, stronger, people, because there's going to be a little more tension on those ropes. You want somebody's going to weigh down, Superman's hand. If it gets a little windy, that person is anchoring Superman's hand so it doesn't fly off, and you don't let go of the little. You hold these little T-bars, and you don't want that thing, flying away. So, but that group, we didn't have many big people, and I'm like a 19, 20-year-old strong young guy, and they were like, Jim, would you be willing to take? It's going to be it's a little bit of a high tension rope. They give me a whole procedure, like, yell this word if the tension starts getting great. And then they'll send the crew of the others, that aren't on a rope. And there's always 5 rotating in and out, and they'll come over and help you, if it gets a little crazy. Well, I'm on Superman. We come around this corner, and the wind kicked up, Neil. And before I knew it, I was 15 feet off the ground. I never let go of the rope. I held on to that T-bar. And so I'm up in the air. 15 feet around, holding on to the T-bar, screaming, electricity, electricity, or whatever the magic word is. I can't remember what it was. And now everybody's coming over there, including the supervisor, the free people. And I'm in the air. I'm like, what do I do? Like, I could get hurt if I drop. I don't know what to do, and finally, thank God, the wind starts to subside, and I get like, I don't know, maybe 5 feet from the ground. And then I I let go. And then finally we were able to, re-corral the rope, and, and then they put like 3 people on it the rest of the way. But it was freaking the craziest thing. So I'm in the air.
Gosh.
I'm surprised they didn't make the nightly news, Superman float carrier, flies through the air with the greatest of ease. I was like, what a great story.
I'm just glad you didn't permanently fly away, my friend.
Yes, I was Superman that day, for crying out loud.
You're Superman every day. Stop that. Stop that.
All right, let's talk Syracuse basketball. That's
Right,
what we're here to do. I love always chatting with you about anything.
Yes.
But let's talk Syracuse basketball. Coming off a win, thank goodness, in ACC play. I think this is going to be one of the tests for this team this year, Neil, is what they can do in the ACC. Can they really start to make some inroads here? And, of course, a couple of games ago, they got Donnie Freeman back, and we haven't talked since Freeman returned. So let's start with Freeman, then we'll work our way into ACC play. What does the return of Donnie Freeman mean to the Syracuse team? Because, boy, when I watched them on the court the last couple of games since he's been back in the lineup, they look like a little bit different team to me.
It's so funny, Jim, when I run inside the Loud House or in chat forums or whatever, and you read, and some people were saying once it was announced that he was going to return for the Clemson game on New Year's Eve at the Dome, most people were excited about that. Obviously, there's some cautious optimism given he's a little injury prone and that sort of thing. But then there were some people that literally, and it's just social media, literally, the team is just as good without him. Like, they're better. I'm like, he was leading the team in scoring those first 4 games before he got injured. It was against mid-majors. I get it. He is a little injury prone. I get it. And those 9 games he missed, they did beat Tennessee. They hung with Houston. They did lose to Hop. So like they did some good and not so good things without him. But anyone that really in their right mind thinks that this team is not better off with him,
it's crazy.
Okay. Yeah.
Because he's come back and he's immediately the leading scorer.
So,
Again, the guy's played in 6 games. He's by far the leading scorer on this team.
Right. So, he comes back against Clemson, doesn't really do much in the first half. It looked like he was kind of settling in, kind of maybe rushing some shots, whatever. He finishes with 18 points and 9 boards. They lose by 3, but it wasn't his fault. I'll just leave it at that.
He had a very good second half. He was the one that kept him in the game, frankly.
He kept him in the game. He kept him 100% in the game. We go to Georgia Tech. They build up a 20-point lead. They almost cough it up. They managed to, hold off Georgia Tech and Atlanta. They win by 10. He has 27 points, 9 rebounds again. So I'm a writer. I'm not a math major, but I believe he's averaging 22.5 points and 9 boards over the last 2 games. Okay. I could be wrong. I don't know. But it's a small sample size. And, we got to see how kind of this, and I've been writing about it on Loud House, and see how like the team kind of, continues to mesh together with him. But he brings obviously scoring. He brings rebounding. Is he the greatest defender in the world? No, but this team overall is a much better defensive team. So I don't think he's like a defensive liability, and he can rebound and he's athletic. And another big thing, my friend, the free throw shooting. Mm-hmm. He and Nate George are both really good free throw shooters. And everyone else on the team, if I'm being honest, pretty much, unless I'm missing someone, is not. So, and I wrote about this when I was previewing the Pittsburgh game. It's just like, I feel like with him there, if he's making his free throws, and Nate George, who I have some concerns about from a turnover standpoint, but if he's making his free throws, like, does it kind of like indirectly, subconsciously, whatever, just kind of get this team going from the free throw line? And as I'm sure we'll talk about, they have been better from the free throw line in the last 2 games. And I think they'll continue to get better because of Donnie, because of Nate George. And I also feel like some of these other guys, Starling, Kyan, Nate Kings, I don't know how much run Sadiq's going to get with Donnie back, but I think some of these guys will start to fare better. I mean, there's nowhere to go but up. I mean, I can even give you, these guys are like, Starling is, Kyan's up to 60%. Starling's at 49%. Nate King's at 55%.
They're all better than that. They are better than that.
Yeah, like, it just be like, get into the mid 60s, or look, if those guys all got into the mid 60s or low 70s, and then you've got Donnie hitting around 80, Nate George hitting 80 plus, they're not like
fine.
The free throw shooting isn't like one of their biggest strengths, but it's not a liability. They lost to Hofstra because of free throw shooting. Yeah. They lost to Houston at a neutral site because of free throw shooting.
Yeah.
The Clemson game, Clemson's a good team. It was their first game back, but I mean, free throw shooting, this team is 12-3, not 10-5. So Donnie being back is humongous. I'll be curious, how consistently he's scoring like this. Is he the guy? Is he the guy? Is it not JJ Starling? Starling's a senior leader. Donnie's a sophomore, but those are the 2 returnees. So I'll see, and is Sadiq White going to get run? How much run is Betsy going to get? So we'll have to see about the rotations, but this team is much better with Donnie Freeman in the lineup. Come on. I know they beat Tennessee. Fine. I'll give you that. There's other good players on the team. William Kyle III has been great. They are much better. Much better.
Talking with Neil Adler inside the Loud House, our SU insider for all things Syracuse basketball and beyond. It's the Manchild Show with Boy Green Digital. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Today's broadcast brought to you by our friends at Bayberry Automotive, now with 2 locations, not only on Route 57 in Liverpool across from Bayberry Plaza, but now on Morgan Road at the old Mike's location. Check out integrity and everything. Get your car taken care of by the guys at Bayberry Automotive. All right, talking Syracuse basketball. You mentioned JJ Starling, so let's talk about it, Neil, because you're right. He is a senior leader. This is a guy that Syracuse expects and needs to expect big things from this season. He's on the struggle bus right now, Neil, and we got to hope that he gets off the struggle bus sooner rather than later.
Yeah, he for a while, I feel like when I wrote about that recently, he was shooting around 35% from 3, which actually was leading the team at the time. It was a few games ago, and I think he's down to 31. And against Georgia Tech, he was, I want to make sure I get this right, 2 of 10 from the field, 4-6 from the free throw line, 8 points. Yeah, he needs to get going. You know, and there were some interesting things that I was reading about in some chat forums, and Mike McAllister, I think, even mentioned it in one of them from 24/7 Sports. Obviously, really good guy, plugged in. He was talking about, you know, if Nate George is like struggling like with his turnovers, like should we maybe like put Starling at the 1 for a bit, and so Kyan can get in? Like that's the thing. Like I feel like sometimes Red doesn't ride Kyan, so to speak, when he's hot, because he had 11 points in only 18 minutes. But it's like against Georgia Tech. But what do? Do you take Starling out? Do you take George out? George is your point guard.
Whose minutes is he taking? Is really
yeah. But with Starling, look, there's no reason why. What are his stats right now? He's shooting 40.
I'll give you JJ on the season.
41.
Yeah,
41%, 48, almost 49 from free throw, 31. He's better than that. Like, and especially because he's a driver and he's usually good in the mid range. So, like, I feel like even if his 3-point shooting isn't great and his free throw shooting, like his shooting from the field as a whole should be better. And he should just be
2 of 10 from the field.
Yeah,
2 of 3 from 3-point.
Yeah, that's not good. And it's just like, you know, when their offense is flowing and the half court sets and there's lots of pick and rolls and back screens and guys that don't have the ball are actually moving around and not just standing around, then you can get, you know, nice step in threes, or you can get JJ at the mid range, or you can get dudes driving to the hole, and you're getting good shots. And that way you can be efficient with your scoring, because when they're not doing that, it's like their best way to score is either off an offensive rebound, which sometimes they're good at, or it's getting turnovers and getting out in transition. Because they're against Georgia Tech, their half court offense was really good in the first half. They had like 10 assists, only 4 turnovers. And I know it's a game of runs, so we figured Georgia Tech, especially home, is going to make a run, and they did. But in the second half, Syracuse had, I think, like 11 turnovers, and they only had 5 assists. They were sloppy with the ball. They weren't moving the ball. Georgia Tech, credit them. But it's just like, you know, what is, and I know other guys have talked about this. I feel like Brenax talked about it. I'm sure you guys have talked. Like, what is Syracuse's offensive identity, especially with Freeman back? Is it to give Freeman the ball? Like, have the ball in his hands? Like, I don't, like, I would like seeing him like at the high post, you know, especially if another team's playing zone. But like, what is the focus here? JJ driving, Kyan, he's not really shooting the ball well from 3, but he can score inside. Betsy can shoot from 3, but he's a streaky shooter. It's just like they're not putting it all together. It's not a bad team. They're 10-5 with Donnie back. They're a much better team. You know, they have 1 bad loss, and then the rest are good losses, and they have 1 good win. But what, like, from half to half, like, besides Donnie, are these guys, can they be consistent? Can Nate George not turn the ball over as much? Nate Kings isn't shooting the ball well from 3, but he can score at the basket and he gets some rebounds. It's just kind of like not everyone's there yet. I feel like, yeah.
And this is one of those teams, Neil, that frankly, you know, you hope that some of the competition they faced early in the season does help them grow more readily. I mean, we just said it. I mean, they have 2 returning players. I mean, this is the plight of every college basketball team these days with the transfer portal and NIL.
Yeah.
But, you know, you want to see, you know, if this team's going to the tournament, things need to come together here in the month of January and February. I mean, they need, you know, this glue needs to start to kind of adhere to this group. And I think part of it, too, is rotational. Now that Freeman's back, as you mentioned it, now, you know, what's Sadiq White's role, you know, and he's getting not even double-digit minutes. I mean, they get a win, but he didn't even get double-digit minutes. A lot of people calling for more Tyler Betsy. Again, didn't get double-digit minutes in this game. Right. And all of a sudden, this very deep team that has this great bench and can go a lot of directions is going to the starting 5 for the most part, and Payan Anthony is the 6th, and then everyone else, we'll see if a guy's in foul trouble, if a guy's a little tired, a guy's a little this, a guy's a little that.
Yeah.
This is part of the challenge for Adrian Autry. The biggest criticism in the late stages of Jim Boeheim's career was this idea that he's, you know, become Tom Thibodeau here, and it's just like, you know, 48 minutes for everybody, baby. Let's go.
5.5 man rotation, right?
Or 40 in college. So,
yeah.
Give me your thoughts on that. I mean, how well do you think Red is handling the rotation, and does he need to do a better job of getting some of these other guys more minutes, and how do you do it?
Yeah, I mean, look, Jim, it's always like it's like, okay, we're talking about this stuff. I hate to be like armchair quarterback. I'm not a college coach, but certainly I feel like he just needs to sometimes ride the hot hand. So like if Cayenne is scoring inside or whatever, I mean, again, because he isn't shooting well from three, but if he's scoring in the mid-range or inside, ride him for a bit. If Betsy's hitting some shots, keep him in there. Certainly, yes, foul trouble or fatigue. Although I feel like fatigue, should that be really? I mean, these kids are in great shape, but I don't want to see it get trimmed. I don't want the rotation to be primarily just the starting five and then Cayenne. I think for this team to be successful, they need to have Sadiq White and Tyler Betsy in particular, because I don't think Luke Fennell or some of those other guys are really going to, get a lot of time. Well, I mean, Akir Suwari does get a few minutes, and he's pretty good on defense. I'll give him that. So, especially if William Kyle needs a break or if he's in foul trouble, which he doesn't tend to get into a ton. But I still think like an 8-man rotation, I'm not saying those other guys like Betsy and White need to play. Well, they're not going to play 20 minutes a game, but I just look back. They both played like 7, 8, 9 minutes, whatever. It's just hard to get into a rhythm when you don't play a lot, or if you feel like you're going to get taken out if you do one thing wrong. But it is a challenge for Red. Do I think he always does it correctly? I would do it differently sometimes, but I'm also not the head coach. So, it's like I don't see Nate George coming out of the starting lineup. I don't see, obviously, Starling coming out. But, if Cayenne's playing well, I definitely say get him in there a little bit more. And for me, it's not always like who's starting. It's about who's playing the most minutes and who's playing in crunch time. And again, the free throw shooting thing does become a liability. So it's like Nate George has had some games where he's had 4, 5, 6 turnovers, but he shoots over 80% from the free throw line. So that's like a catch-22 situation right there. Right. Cayenne, I don't think turns the ball over as much. He's a younger player, so does that factor in, but he doesn't shoot well from the free throw line. So, we'll see kind of over the next couple games. Look, they've got Pittsburgh, then they've got Florida State at home, then they're at BC. Those are all winnable games. I've said this multiple times this week. Syracuse needs to win in 2 of the 3 on the road. If they can take care of business in those 3 games, they're 13-5, 4-1 in the league, 3 league road wins, albeit not quad ones, maybe 1 quad 2, potentially a second quad 2, depending on. But 13-5 and 4-1, it's not amazing, but that gives you momentum with Donnie back in the fold and maybe other kind of things just settling in as you get to a Virginia Tech or a Miami or a Virginia, Duke, North Carolina, blah, 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 NC State. They need to win these next 3 games. I never like to say must wins, but they're non-must wins, must wins. Did I say that right? That didn't make any sense.
It's the Manchild Show with Boy Green Digital. We're talking with Neil Adler from Inside the Loud House, our SU basketball insider. Today's broadcast brought to you by our friends at Bayberry Automotive. Let's just take 30 seconds to learn a little bit more about our friends from Bayberry.
Trust is everything when it comes to auto repairs. At Bayberry Automotive, they take trust seriously. Bayberry has a team of experienced and certified mechanics that are dedicated to providing exceptional customer service. And Bayberry stands behind its work with an exceptional 5-star rating from its many satisfied customers. Family run, integrity in everything. Bayberry Automotive, BayberryAutomotive.com.
Located on Route 57 across from Bayberry Plaza, the premier choice for auto repair in Liverpool.
All right, we are back talking with Neil Adler inside the Loud House, Manchild Show with Boy Green Digital. Don't forget to pop that subscribe button, become part of our growing family, and go check out the video I posted on our YouTube channel at MC Show Digital. We're giving away, when we get to 475 subscribers, and we're very close to that number right now, a set of Anchorman the movie bobbleheads. All right, it's all 4 of the original 5 set. I gave away Ron Burgundy a few years ago. I'm so mad, Neil. Someone came into my office. I had this collection, right? It was Ron Burgundy, Veronica Corningstone, Brian Fontana, the Sex Panther guy, Rick Tamlin, the weather guy, and of course Champ Kine, the sports guy. And they're really cool. I got them from the movie company. They sent them to me, and I just had them displayed in my office, when I was in radio. And one day, one of my former employees, I can't even remember who it was, saw them. Like, oh, I love that movie. That's such an awesome movie. And they were like, is there any way you could give me Ron Burgundy? I would die to have that, you know? And like, I don't know, like he came back a couple of times. Then eventually I was like, all right, you could have Ron, you know? And so I never thought, is this ever going to be worth anything? Or is this ever going to be a cool collection? And then off Ron went, and I kept the other 4. And then, you know, now I don't have Ron. So it kind of sucks. And I've looked online. You could like buy Ron on eBay, but it's only about like, you know, $250, $300 for a Ron Burgundy bobblehead. I'm like, I don't know if I want to complete the collection that badly. So whoever wins this thing, here, right? This is going to be a random subscriber from our first 475. You know, if you want to go get Ron, you know, pay the money and you can have the complete collection. So
is that your favorite? Is that your favorite Will Ferrell movie?
It's right up there. I mean, because of what I do, you know, like, yeah, there's kind of a coolness. As a matter of fact, here, I'll roll the videos if you want to see. Here's the collection. Take a look, Neil, for everybody.
Yeah, sure.
All right, everybody. Our next giveaway is going to be right out of the Manchild's collection. These bobbleheads from the Anchorman, a collection of 4. Check it out. We've got Veronica Corningstone right here. Very cool. Brick Tamlin, the weather guy, the zany weather guy played by Steve Carell. Check out, yes, Brian Fantana with the Sex Panther in his hand. Very, very cool. And then lastly, the sports nut Champ Kind. This collection of bobbleheads going out the door once we get to 475 subscribers. Subscribe now. It's absolutely free.
Oh, well, you just have to be a member of our little club, our growing community here, and you have a chance to win that Anchorman bobblehead set of 4. I'm sorry I don't have Ron. You'll have to go search for Ron. He's out there.
Yeah, it's all good.
Have Ron. Go get him. Go get him.
Well, that's one of my favorites. I gotta say, I'm a huge fan of Elf.
Elf's very good also.
And I love old school. I mean, it's so raunchy, but I love old school. Oh God!
Yeah, but probably for me, because I'm in media, the wackiness of Anchorman and the hair thing, and how newsrooms operate. I've been in those very situations. And while of course it's all a parody or a great sarcasm on it all, ironic in some weird way, it still has the ingredients of, oh yeah, these were things that happened in newsrooms back in the day and probably still do today in some weird way, even though we're in a digital world. So very, very cool. All right, back to Syracuse basketball, Neil, for a couple more questions before we get you out of here.
Sure.
All right, 3-point shooting. Are the Orange taking enough threes? What's going on? I don't feel all that comfortable, although he's making them since he's been back. I don't love the idea of Donnie Freeman hoisting up 5 or 6 a game. I think he took 4 in the last game. I'd rather him under the basket or closer to the basket, and the guys of the likes of Nate Kings and others like that hitting threes, and JJ Starling, who's been off. Give me your thoughts on the 3-point shooting of Syracuse, and are they doing enough there? What needs to change?
Well, this is a really Captain Obvious statement, and this is why you bring me on. They need their percentage to be higher. There, I did it. That's it.
Just shoot better,
They're at 31.3%. I think Mike Waters, the great Hall of Famer Mike Waters, had something the other day about a fan asking him about free throw shooting and where this team, if the season ended today, where they'd be, and they'd be among the couple worst. I don't remember the ins and outs. For me, and I agree with you about Donnie, although I think against Georgetown, I'm pretty sure, let me just double check. He was 2 of 4, I think.
I think you're right.
I don't mind him taking a couple, especially if they're like out in transition or, again, step in, like good looks. I don't like the hurried ones. I mean, he definitely shot a bunch of threes against Clemson, if I'm not mistaken, including one at the end to tie it. And look, him missing that, the game wasn't, they would have been in the game if it wasn't for him. So I'm not blaming him.
And he was 2 of 4 to confirm that against Georgia Tech. Yes.
Yeah. So, if he shoots 30, 2 of 4, 50%, if he shoots 35, 40% on like limited numbers, I'm all about that. I think that the problem with the team is they're just, against Georgia Tech, they shot 7 of 19, which I think is like around 37%. If they shot 37% for the year on like decent volume, but not like just like falling in love with the 3, and they're efficient with it, I'm all about it. But the problem is they're just not. I don't know if it's a question of taking too many or not enough or whatever. Let me see how many they've taken this year. They've taken 307, made 96. So 307. They've played 15 games. Is that like 20-ish a game?
Doing the math here. You want me to do that math?
Oh my gosh, I'm like turning into a mathematician. Why did I go to Syracuse for journalism? I should have just been a mathematician.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I don't think they're taking too many. I do feel like sometimes when their half-court offense gets a little stagnant and there's not a lot of ball and player movement, sometimes they'll hoist up threes that aren't necessarily like awful looks, but I feel like they're looks that they could get at any time. It's like try and get a better shot. Well, I love, and I know Jay Billis and other analysts talk about this. I love threes in transition, man. You run out and then like a guy's trailing and you give it and he just has
squared up.
No one there. Boom. But again, I don't think 20 a game is awful. I think that making 31% is awful or just not good. It's a problem.
Yeah.
And Nate George is at 33. Donnie's at 35. Kyan 25. Starling 31. Nate King's 32. He was at 44 plus last year. Betsy at 34. The other guys really don't shoot a lot. So like, again, for me, it's just, it's kind of like with the free throws. You just got to make more of them. I don't think they need to take a ton more. If they took 20 free throws a game, 3-pointers a game, and they're making 35%, what is that? 7? They're like 7 of 20 or something. Like that's serviceable. Yeah. It's just when they're taking a ton of them and shooting like 24, like that's a problem. So
and I did the math, by the way, it's 20.5 per game. So you're pretty much on the money.
God, I'm so good at math.
You are.
Amazing. Yeah. So again, I agree with you at the onset of what you said. I don't want Donnie chucking up a bunch of threes. He could end up leading the team in free 3-point percentage, but his strengths are getting to the rim, getting out in transition, even in the mid range, cleaning up stuff after offensive rebounds. So I'm cool with him taking a couple. Everyone just needs to up it just a little bit.
Yeah.
Even if they got to like 34-35% as a team.
Yeah.
But again, for me, and I've said this ad nauseum now, for me, their strengths lie in getting turnover, whether they get rebounds, deflections, or steals and get out in transition and get fast break points off turnovers. Yes. Driving to the hoop in the or doing mid-range stuff, just moving the ball around, take the open three when you got it, get to the free throw line, make your free throws. See, I should be a coach. God,
you should be, look, all you got to do is go out there and score more points than the other team. That's what you do. You got to make more shots. Jim Boeheim used to say that all the time. We just got to go make more shots. Like, okay, let's not state the obvious.
So are you saying like I'm just as good of an analyst?
I'm saying you are.
So I guess the ACC Network's going to hire me to be an analyst now. Great.
I think it's a possibility. I think you're saying many of the same things that the geniuses, the genius talking heads of our generation are saying these days, Neil.
I'm
talking again with Neil Adler inside the Loud House. It's the Manchild Show with Boy Green Digital. Hit that subscribe button, become part of our growing family. We're giving away all kinds of free stuff right now just for being a subscriber, which costs you absolutely nothing. So why the heck wouldn't you? It's easy. It's fun. It's free. It's all of those things. All right. Look, next up for the Orange, and it comes tomorrow, Neil, and that is the Pitt Panthers. Now, Pitt is not off to a good start this season so far. They are 7-8 on the season, 0-2 so far in the conference. This is a very, very proud university with a very, very proud history. Just a couple of years ago, I was in that beautiful building, the Peterson Event Center, what a terrific venue that is for basketball.
It is.
Give me your thoughts about the Pitt Panthers, what's going on with them, and how important is this for Syracuse to now extend their record in the ACC to 2-1 and get off to a good start here, because they're going to need to make some hay in this league if they're going to make the tournament, period, end of story.
Yeah, Pittsburgh's definitely not off to a great start, like you said, 7-8 overall, 0-2 in the ACC. They lost to Hofstra at home by 7.
Oh, we have that in
Syracuse lost to Hofstra at home by 1. Okay, so that's a comparison there. Pittsburgh, they beat Ohio State, they beat Penn State, they've lost to Miami, Clemson, Villanova, a few other teams. A lot of their statistics are pretty similar in terms of, points scored, points given up, all that, other things. They're not a great rebounding team. They do shoot 36% from beyond the arc. They turn it over 11 per game, which is comparable to Syracuse. Mm-hmm. Syracuse has better, net ranking, Ken Palm rankings and all that. I don't think Pittsburgh is like an awful team. I think maybe they're a little better than their record indicates, but they're certainly not a good to great team. But like you said, they are a proud team, and they are usually predominantly a physical team. And the Pete is not an easy place to play. And what do they call their student section? Is it the Oakland Zoo? Is that what that is?
Zoo. That's correct.
The Zoo.
That's right.
And I was saying this the other day, like every time
they're right on the court. They're right there.
Yeah, and like right. Every time I think about Pitt, I think about Tyler Ennis, from that 25-0 start and 13-14. But look, Pitt will not be. I haven't seen any odds yet from Vegas, but Pitt will not be easy to play at home. They're not going to just bow down. Do I think Syracuse is the better team? Absolutely. Mm-hmm. Do I think Syracuse should win this game? Absolutely. Do I think Syracuse has to win this game? I just think they need to build up. I think these next 3 games are against not very good teams, and it allows them
to BC. Go ahead.
Right. Yep. And it allows them to get to 4-1 in the ACC, including 3 road wins. And even if they're not like quad 1 or 2, or maybe they might, Pitt's quad 2 right now for Syracuse.
Okay.
But still, but building up ACC road wins, even against inferior competition, as Donnie's getting back in, I think that builds confidence. I'm not saying this team doesn't have confidence already, but I think you get on a mini run here and then you start to play some really tougher teams, then you've got something. So what do I expect tomorrow? I'm hoping that Donnie is good. I hope Nate George cuts down on his turnovers. If Syracuse can just put together 2 halves where they're consistently not turning the ball over a lot and playing well on the offense in the half court, rebound, they'll be okay.
Okay. All right. Well, again, these conference games are so important. This continuity needs to come together.
Yeah.
So I think that's you and I are looking at the same thing right now. And that is, can this thing start to look like a nice, tightly knit puzzle? And I think right now there are some terrific pieces. Some of them are just not quite fitting, or they're just, we haven't stuck them in yet. It's like watching the show Survivor that we follow on the show. And
again,
you fit into the tribe yet. You got to find your place in the tribe.
Got to gel as a cohesive unit. But again, to be fair, they're out without their leading scorer for 9 games. He comes back. He's playing well. They're 1-1. So let's see how it all shakes.
See how it all comes together. Because what the rotation is seemingly looking like today is probably more of what the rotation will inevitably be. We'll see if he can 100%. Work some more of that bench. But Donnie Freeman obviously is, he's going to take a lot of minutes from Sadiq White. And they're going to have to figure out ways if they want to get Sadiq on the floor, because Donnie is a better player at this point. Totally. My worry always with something like this is Sadiq White is a terrific talent, just like Cayenne Anthony is a terrific talent. And you don't want in this NIL/particular transfer portal world to go, you should have given me more opportunities.
I know, man.
Sorry, I'm going to put someone else who's definitely going to start me, because these guys are probably next year both starters. Okay, but the realization that they're going to be starters may not, be in their minds if Autry, doesn't play them the kind of minutes that they think they're deserving of. This is the new tricky world. It's not like the coach rules and sit and wait. You'll get your chance.
No, it's instant gratification, baby.
Yep.
Here's the only thing I'll say about
you have to coach these days, because if you want guys coming back, you have to give them a reason to come back.
Yeah.
And part of that reason is how you divvy up the minutes and how you make those decisions.
I think that if Donnie continues to play the way he's playing and is not, knock on wood, showing any injury stuff, he's going to get NBA draft buzz. So that's one piece. I also feel like if that's kind of that direction it's going, if they could just find ways to get Sadiq some minutes, because he can play – I don't know if he can play the 3, but he can play the 4. I guess he could play the 5 in small ball. Just get him a little bit of time, because he's really good on defense. He's a little raw offensively, but he's really good on defense. Just get him a little time, get Betsy some time, keep everyone a little bit happy. And they could bring back a lot of guys next year. A lot of guys.
Which would be good. Good. Neil Adler, always great catching up to you. We'll talk to you again next week, my friend.
I appreciate your brother. Tell Paul, much love.
Okay.